What's up guys, like and today we got a quick little video on update 5.2.0 for Battlefield 2042. So the patch notes are out now and everything. We basically know what's going to happen. And just viewing what I've seen here, Dispersion tweaks SMGs and LMGs ain't looking good. So obviously the main points here is the Hourglass rework, bolt weapons, all-out warfare attachments for SMGs, LMGs and sidearms where it's applicable, squad management as well, which we've been waiting for ages, and ammo crate improvements, which I did not expect. They're getting a nerf, but also kind of a buff at the same time. So we've got the areas of improvement as well for the Hourglass rework, which I'm not going to read through it because I find, like, unless you're viewing it visually, it just doesn't sink in. But I'm pretty sure this bridge here, if I remember correctly, because I haven't played this map in ages, this was fully connected along here, and obviously now they've put it in the ground. And there's all the other stuff. They did have some clips on their Instagram, but I'm not going to go through it. I'm sure they got clips somewhere. They're probably on Twitter or something, but it is what it is. Hourglass, I still think it's going to be broken. It fixed loads of issues with audio, soldier and AI, Battlefield Portal, some small stuff like that. It doesn't really matter. Some game mode stuff. Here we go. Special gadgets. Right, here we go. Ammo crate. This is a big one. So ammo crates now have a shared supply cooldown between other deployed ammo crates. Ammo and medic crates will now have a recharge time of 16 seconds down from 30. So that's kind of a buff. So the recharge time is pretty much half for you deploying them. But ammo crates will now supply every 15 instead of 20 seconds as well, so they're going to resupply quicker as well. And ammo crates now give an extra magazine to both primary and secondary weapons, which is even better, so you're going to get more ammo from your primary and your secondary weapons. Stuff to do with C5 bouncing and not sticking, anti-tank grenades as well. Fix an issue where the shoot-down sentinel could intercept the same projectile twice. Some Rio stuff. Smoke grenades. The smoke grenade is now unlocked by default at level 1. We have also changed the default grenade of the recon and support class to the smoke grenade to the frag grenade, which makes a lot of sense, and it should have been like that from the start. I don't know why you had to level up to unlock the smoke grenade. Something to do with some issues with throwing knives. Wouldn't move automatic doors when they open or close. Some throwing knife stuff there. Weapons as well. Nothing too important. Now this is the main one, the one that I am heavily concerned about. So similar to recent dispersion changes made to assault rifles, SMGs and LMGs have now also received tweaks to their dispersion rates alongside general dispersion improvements across weaponries. So SMGs now have a higher starting dispersion, but their maximum dispersion and the rate at which it is reached is now comparable to assault rifles. So essentially, you're going to have a lot more dispersion straight away as soon as you pull the trigger with the SMGs, but their maximum dispersion and the rate at which it gets to that point is going to essentially be the same as ARs. So that's just a massive nerf to SMGs, which I don't feel like they needed to do because SMGs are weak anyway. I know people say, oh, you can get like really range kills with them, which you can, but their headshot multiplier is 1.25. So the standard, obviously, damage for a bullet is 1, but yeah, the multiplier for a headshot is 1.25. It is so ridiculously low, and it's already had a nerf. I don't know why they're changing it. It's the same with the ARs. This is my opinion across all weapons in the game. They should have never added these dispersion changes and recoil changes. It makes no sense at all. We're nearly, well, at this point now, we're over a year and a half into the game's life cycle. There was no reason to change any of this. They should have just left it as it is because it's guaranteed there's going to be issues. And I'm going to get to it as well. It's also it's happening to the vault weapons as well. I think it's beyond stupid. If anything, it's just decreasing the skill gap because the way it's supposed to work with like for burst fire and everything, it doesn't. And all the maps are too open on 2042. There's a few areas on maps like Stranded when you're in the ship and below and everything, and you're in them sort of close range engagements. Okay, the SMGs come in more clutch there, but you could just run an AR. You could run the M5A3 with a short barrel close combat rounds, and as long as you headshot, you're gonna kill the player using the SMG purely because the ARs have like a much higher headshot damage multiplier. Fix an issue that was stopping dispersion penalties from being applied correctly while moving under specific circumstances. This has now been applied as designed and should have provide a more consistent and fair experience for all players. Inconsistencies will calculate a weapon dispersion when the player is moving. They fixed that. Vault SMGs have had their spread and shooting behavior tuned to make them more consistent and viable against all-out warfare alternatives. So this is the thing I don't understand. When it says they have had their spread and shooting behavior tuned to make them more consistent with all the all-out warfare weapons, does that mean they have like reduced the recoil, reduced the spread? Because the hit detection with a lot of them and the dispersion was horrific on the ARs at least. So the SMGs, they're quite weak anyway. Like the P90 I like, but the PP2000 and the 7.4U are known for being like ridiculously weak. I just hope they don't mess this up, man. Bipods are now more effective against dispersion and recoil on LMGs to compensate for these changes. So yeah, use a bipod, lay in prone or crouch behind some cover or something where your bipod's going to sit on. It's going to help with the dispersion. There's some other vehicle fixes there. Yeah, so I was wrong. I thought there was more changes to the Volt weapons, but there's not. We've got Volt weapon attachments here. I could be wrong actually. With SMGs and LMGs as the final Volt weapons to receive all-out warfare attachments, the rollout is now complete across all weapon categories. So yeah, there you go. The P90, 7.4U, PP2000, M60, XMA, M24OB, Type 88, and the RPK. Here you go. Have also had their damage curves, dispersion, recoil behavior, and accuracy tweaked to feel more consistent with all-out warfare counterparts as viable and competitive options. So there's only one way this could have worked, right? Is that they have buffed every single one of these weapons for lower recoil, less dispersion, more damage, but they haven't told us the values. So that's something that's going to have to be tested in Portal on the aim trainer and whatnot. But the only way that works is if they have buffed all of these weapons for them to compete against all-out warfare weapons, which they're saying because they're trying to make them more competitive with these weapon types. But events is down here, Volt SMGs have had their spread and shooting behavior tuned to make them more consistent and viable against all-out warfare alternatives. So they have to have buffed them. There is no way they haven't buffed these weapons. They can't have been, the way that they're making it sound here, right, is that they have essentially, there's only one way because they're so weak at the minute, is that they have buffed all these weapons, right? They're more usable and competitive. But then the other all-out warfare SMGs, they've nerfed into the ground by adding all this dispersion and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see what they've done. I hope to God they haven't nerfed them into the ground, because if the all-out warfare SMGs are now crap, these could be the new alternative. I've also just noticed as well, for some reason, my face cam is freezing for some reasons. Apologies. I'll probably put a note at the side of the video for that. I don't know why it's happening. It's now Gatto face cam issue. In addition, Volt sidearms have also received all-out warfare attachments where possible, and since this is a large rebalance injection into the game, we'll be monitoring the feedback and data post-update, and we are ready to make further changes. We hope you'll enjoy discovering new ways to play as you interact with moment-to-moment engagements. So it says they're listening. Whether they are or not, we'll see, because if they were listening to start with, they would have just reverted the AR changes and removed the bloody explosive weaponry off the transport vehicles. They removed the flak off the LATV because it wasn't performing the way they wanted it to. If you can just remove a weapon like that off a vehicle, just remove them off of all the transport vehicles, all the explosive stuff. There is no reason not to. I feel like the only reason why they haven't is because they want to do this whole vehicle loadout rework, but just remove the explosives from the transport vehicles so it's done and out of the way, and then you can bring out the new loadout. It's, oh man, it's so irritating, these basic things like this. Through squad orders, leaders can now issue attack or defend orders towards objectives, collaborate with your squad, and earn extra XP. Obviously, we've had this in all previous battlefields. This is new to anyone. You'd expect this. It's your squad leader up to the task. You will now be able to take leadership duties from them if your order requests are not being acted upon. So that's good to know. And lock squad functionality is also enabled as part of this update, allowing squad leaders to lock and unlock squads as they see fit, as well as removing players. So thank God for that as well, because it's handy to have stuff like that. I know it's a bit of like a taboo thing with people playing bad, whether or not you should be able to remove them, but it's nice with all the options there, because it should be. I mean, overall, man, like from what I've read, like the ammo crate thing, I'm quite happy with, because it means, I think, hang on, let me find some more information on it quick. Yeah, so apparently with the ammo crate, we've made these changes for a couple of reasons. One being that we want to reduce instances where players are instantly gaining masses of supplies from multiple crates in a short period of time. So essentially, I think if they're going to share it, so you can't just be one player, and let's say you've got your 3 other squad mates, they've got their ammo packs down. You can't just run over all of it. Like, you can't chuck your grenades, run to one of them, get your grenades back, chuck them, go back to the other one that hasn't been used yet, and chuck them. They're trying to reduce that, but they're also letting you, they're going to regenerate faster. The cooldown is going to be reduced by literally half to deploy them, and then the rate at which they supply ammo is being reduced as well by 25%, and they give more ammo to the primary and secondary weapons. But if you're running on your own like me, you could just constantly chuck these down and get your smokes back. That's what I like doing. I like using these for smokes, for pushing. Hopefully people think alike and use that as like a play style, if you'd like, or a tactic. So that is it for update 5.2, guys. I feel like I should go over Hourglass more, but what's the point? Like, I'll do gameplay on the next week. Speaking and showing things about a map rework is one thing, but communicating on once you've played it is like a completely different perspective, and that's what we need. But it's a bit, I'm quite happy, you know, the squad orders, the ammo crate improvements, at least we're getting the map rework, and they're now done. And we've got vault weapon attachments for all these new weapons, like the SMGs, LMGs, and sidearms. They could, as long as the dispersion tweaks do not completely ruin the all-out warfare SMGs and LMGs and the vault ones. We'll have to see how it works, because it's saying, I've already said this, but they're nerfing the all-out warfare SMGs, buffing the vault weapons, but they're also going to give these dispersion tweaks to them. But then they're also saying we're trying to make it more competitive, and I know for a fact that without a doubt, and you guys probably know, DICE are going to mess this up somehow. I mean, hopefully it's all good, but we'll have to see. But I'm just tired of them making these dispersion changes now at this point and just ruining weapons. Or at least they have done with the ARs. They just feel horrific now. I mean, there's no need to. The game's, they're nearly done with the game. I know they've announced Season 6, but let's be honest, they're not going to do much more to this game. I'd be happy if they just spent all their time and money in bringing more Portal weapons, more Portal maps into Portal, and just building Portal up, because there's such a large foundation there that they could build off of, and it's just, oh god, it's like they don't listen. I don't know. I'm very skeptical of this update, but hopefully you enjoy. Enjoy the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe.